Good afternoon, and thanks for coming back to Christmas on World of Woodrow. Up next, it's This Week in Robot Combat. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to This Week in Robot Combat. I am your host, as always, Jevon Woodrow, and boy howdy, what a week of news it has been. There have been ups, there have been downs, and we shall be going through all of it, every last single bit in the news today. So stay tuned with me for the next, round about half an hour as we usually do, as we plough on through the week's news. Hope everybody has had a good week. Hope everybody has caught up on BattleBots, because this is your spoiler warning. We will be covering things that happened, strangely enough, in BattleBots this week. Shock horror. What did you expect from a news show? But there it is. My obligation to tell you the straight facts of what is happening in today's show. As always, I will be going through any viewer comments at the end of the stream, so do send them in on the live stream chat, and don't forget, any links to this week's stories will be covered over on the World of Woodrow Facebook page, where you can find all of the lovely news from this week as well, and every other week as well. Also, without further ado, we're going to crack straight on with some news. News. And, it's disappeared. There it is. Oh, technology, isn't it wonderful? Yes, some news from LEGO Wars, first of all, that the defending champions Panic Attack are ready to go in the new year, along with Waddle Dee 2 and Block Dougal, all of which have had upgrades. You can see Panic Attack looking very smashing with that new armour, the graphic design, if you like, on the top and front of Panic Attack. David has worked very, very hard on this. Waddle Dee 2 now looking more like a sort of Warhead-esque machine than it did before, with the arms as well on the sides, looking very cool indeed. And Block Dougal may not look that different, but that whole front wedge is actually new, and the whole spike setup has been upgraded as well, which is very exciting indeed. Looking forward to getting back in the arena with these things in the new year, with a couple of machines maybe. At least one or two. Certainly Shatterstar will be in there with some of these, so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be good fun. We move on to some news that has come out of nowhere, really, that BattleBots will have a side competition that will air exclusively on Discovery Plus. It is called BattleBots Bounty Hunters, and it's a new series where it's a tournament bracket, much like Desperado, but at the end of it, you will be facing, if you get to that point, a legend of the sport who is sat waiting for you. So you will have to go through many fights to get to that legend. That legend is just sitting there, ready to go at peak robotic position, whatever. But yeah, it is going to be good. It's airing, as I said, exclusively on the new Discovery streaming service, Discovery Plus. That is available in the US and is also available in the UK. I have asked the question to BattleBots themselves on whether this will air in the UK version of Discovery Plus. I'm waiting to hear back about that, so as soon as I know, I will let everybody else know. So that is pretty cool. We move on. We'll talk more about it in a minute. To this. It's no longer coming soon, it's out. It is the new Tale of the Tape after show from Witch Doctor and Hypershock, giving you some behind the scenes information on some of the builds, some of the bots, and also some interviews with some of the teams in episode 1 that is out now. They do interviews with Team Rusty, David Eaton, and Matt Vasquez of Team Whiplash. So yeah, very exciting and a lot of fun. Do go and check them out. They're very, very good videos. This one has been anyway. Now, we're going to talk through today the fights from BattleBots, and just in case you've forgotten, The main event for this week was indeed Witch Doctor versus Hydra, and what a fight it was. Very interesting. A match of two halves, I feel, although maybe not. Hydra dominated for a lot of this fight, flipping Witch Doctor very, very high indeed. Unfortunately, no roof shots, I don't think, so Jevon doesn't get to tick off a bingo square there. In fact, 2 bingo squares if I get a roof shot. 1 if I get a light shot, 2 if I get a roof shot, which is what I'm aiming for. So yeah. And then in the second half, Hydra was struggling to move. It got caught on the floor, which has been laid deliberately uneven so that things like Hydra don't have a massive advantage. But at the same time, Witch Doctor was producing billows of smoke, and it was quite the spectacle. Really enjoyable fight. Make sure you go and check it out if you haven't already. It is pretty damn good. Also, we had, and we're going to be talking about them shortly, Shatter vs Ghostraptor, Ribot vs Tracer, Kraken vs Black Dragon, which we are not going to talk about later, but I have spoken about in the Robocast this week with Sam Elliott and guest Jonathan Schultz of Team Huge. Make sure you check that out when it comes out. We also had Hijinx, Claw Viper, Extinguisher Perfect Phoenix, which again I'm not going to talk about because we discuss it in Robocast, and the main event, as we've just said. Nearly said Spinner Proof because I've just seen that Ryan is in the chat. Hi Ryan. Mr. Psycho asks, how many bingo squares have I got already? I got 2 this week, which I'm very pleased about. Hang on, let's find out which ones they are. I've got my bingo card on my phone ready to go. So I've got Tis Just a Flesh Wound, a badly damaged bot gets to a judge's decision. I think Witch Doctor qualifies for that one. And I've got Beat the Clock, Robot recovers mid count out. I got last week Wedge, which was Smee wins a fight, which was courtesy of you, Mike, as was Tis Just a Flesh Wound. And I am 4 out of 20 into I'm a Firestarter, 20 plus fires over the season. That is all I have so far. I think I'm going to struggle to get some of these. For example, how are we going to know if a team refuses to fight? We won't know this year, probably. So thanks for that, Ned. Anyway, we will move on. Keep the comments coming. And unfortunately, it's some sad news. On the 8th of December, I believe that was Monday or Tuesday, we got the sad news that, fortunately, Nick Adams of Team Wild Thing sadly passed away. He was an amazing builder, an incredible driver, one of the best drivers of his time. Wild Thing never seemed to stop going. It was resilient, it was tenacious, it was almost indestructible. It had an amazing fight, really well regarded in the robot combat community as one of the best fights of all time in Chaos 2 versus Wild Thing, and he is a name in the community that we will not forget. So rest well, Nick Adams, and my thoughts go out to his family. What an amazing builder, what an amazing guy. We've already sort of covered tail of the tape, so we shall move on to Norwalk Havoc. Now, Norwalk Havoc was a very interesting event. It was yesterday, and it was the finals, and what a good set of finals it was. I'm not going to cover who won just yet, because I will be covering it in just a little bit, but I do want to say a few things first. There was several occasions in yesterday's Norwalk Havoc livestream whereupon a builder was unsafe while working on and loading his robot into the box. I think it's really quite bad that we're still seeing. This is not the first time that person has made these sorts of mistakes, and yes, he had to forfeit a fight, but if we're going to be as unsafe as he was in yesterday's live stream, which is going out across the world for all to see, I would be having serious thoughts about whether he would have a 1-event ban or a several event ban. But yes, safety is a precedent, and it must be followed to the highest of standards. And if it isn't, then serious consequences or serious thoughts need to be had. Otherwise, this sport just becomes dangerous. And they always used to say it at the end of Robot Wars every week. And, you know, it is a dangerous sport if done wrong. If done right, it is perfectly safe to do. But it needs to be followed. All of the safety procedures need to be followed. And, yeah, that is probably where I'm going to leave it. That it was noted. It was noted by many different builders in the live stream. It was noted across the internet yesterday, and I wanted to go on record as saying I also do not think that not following the rules of safety is really quite selfish and quite stupid. As a teacher, as an educator, I am always looking at safety and how I can run robots safely in my workplace so that people don't get injured. I've written some wild risk assessments in my time because we compete with a heavyweight at events. As a school, I need to have a risk assessment for the heavyweight, and top of that list is things like electrocution, the flipper going off unexpectedly, causing broken arms, legs, and other things that could be far worse. So yeah, safety is a must and must always be followed. Obviously, it's smaller weight class, doesn't matter. It's still a very fast spinning weapon that could cause injury. And yeah, Norwalk, I think you need to be looking at perhaps final warnings. But that's up to you. That is your decision to make. But yeah, we shall move on to one of the best fights I have ever seen in Hijinx versus Mammoth, and we're going to cover it here, and then we're going to cover the actual fight a little bit later on. So going into this fight, I thought, you know, it's a bit fine. It's good for the casual viewer, I guess. Two big robots going, I'm going to hit you, no, I'm going to hit you. But this fight proved me wrong in that it was an amazing fight for whoever watched. Yes, what a good fight. We shall talk more about it in just a little bit. But in the meantime, we've covered that. We've covered the main event. In the meantime, we shall talk Tracer versus Ribot. A really cool fight as well. Ribot going in with the undercutter setup, losing a wheel very early to Tracer. Tracer, I think, has the potential to be quite a vicious machine. Obviously, they did get turned over, a mixture of getting sideswiped and the gyro of that turning them over. So I have seen a CAD, almost blueprint style CAD, of Tracer with a Shremek. And Tracer is a robot that was meant to compete in the 2021 season. Obviously, with the COVID pushback, they were able to compete a little bit earlier, but at the cost of having to go in without a Shremek because they didn't have the time or the, I don't know, but they didn't fit the Shremek in for this event because they had to get it ready quickly. Tracer doesn't have a Shremek at the minute, but certainly will have in the future, I think, which is really good because this robot, oh, crikey, it has the potential to do very, very well. It's a bit of a tank, really, and should not be sniffed at. We move on to a very surprising fight indeed. Hijinx versus Claw Viper. I underestimated Claw Viper massively. I thought Hijinx had this fight. First of all, Claw Viper is really small, really compact, really cool weapon on it. Hijinx, this big, wide spinner undercutter thing with a big tail out the back. We found out later this week that Hijinx was actually going to be Scorpios for this season, but BattleBots rejected the idea. They like Scorpios for Scorpios, and they wanted to keep Scorpios in, so Hijinx came as its own thing, hence why it's here as well. And yeah, this fight was really exciting, really fast-paced, really good fun, and it was all thanks to a bit of Claw Viper, really, who was darting about the box, getting that wedge in to just deflect the blows to stop the spinner. At one point, it used the back section of Hijinx as a stunt ramp. It was an amazing fight, an amazing showing for Claw Viper, who did win it by knockout. And good grief, did not see that result coming. What an awesome fight it was. Looking forward to seeing both of these machines in the future. So, yeah, awesome stuff. We shall move on from there to Shatter versus Ghostraptor, the first fight of the night. Another amazing fight, this one. Ghostraptor, I think I am more liking it now than just seeing the pictures of it. It was really cool to see it in action. The spinner looks like it could be quite potent when it's working all the time. They're still stopping that spinner, and I don't know why it keeps stopping, but hopefully they can get that working. Whether that was tactical or not, I don't know. I said on the Robocast, I've said it everywhere, I really like the fact that Shatter at the start of the fight hits the floor and loses all its triangles off of it. It's sort of, I liken it to somebody taking their shirt off to fight. Like, you want a piece of this? Right, here we go then. Shatter really good in this fight, strafing all over the place. The hammer really powerful, and unfortunately Ghostraptor suffered a bit of a catastrophic failure in that both motors went up in flames. Both sides. Apparently it popped out the fuses so that the batteries weren't affected. But yeah, they thought that was curtains for Ghostraptor, but happily, people were very helpful in the pits and managed to help them get it back up and running. So Ghostraptor will return. As we saw in the trailer, they are fighting Chomp at some point this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, this was a really fun fight, and there was an unstick in there, of course, when Shatter and Ghostraptor were over by the screws and everything stopped. The screws broke, and they had to unstick. But at that point, Ghostraptor was pretty much dead anyway. So yeah, interesting fight, good fight. Shatter 1-0 by knockout. Very exciting to see. Now we're going back to the story about the BattleBots bounty hunters. These 6 robots will be 6 of the legends we will see in the bounty hunters. We have Son of Waiachi, we have Bronco, we have Icewave, ones that we didn't know were going to be competing in the main season. Perhaps they're not, perhaps they are competing just in the bounty battles. We also have, of course, Tombstone, Witch Doctor, and Beta as a legend of the sport. Very excited to see all these fighting it out against whoever makes it to reach them. I believe it's going to be a different one of these each episode of Bounty Hunters, so yeah, look forward to that, and it'll be very exciting to see who wins. Some people have said it might be unfair that these robots are, just sitting there waiting, that they're going to be at the top of their game, but that's sort of the idea. It's meant to be the underdog story rising up, and I love a bit of an underdog story, so yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for Bounty Hunters. This is going to be a really cool mini-series on Discovery Plus, and fingers crossed it's going to be available in the UK as well, so we don't have to try and steal it or pirate it or whatever, I don't know. Watch it through American friends. So, one of the best fights ever, I've said. Spoilers for the most recent episode, of course. This was Mammoth versus Huge. And in a year without the Olympic Games, I'm so glad that we still got the gymnastics and the high jump, the long jump. What even was this fight? It was so wild, wacky. So we discovered during the Robocast interview that Mammoth is using some of Byte Force's old motors from about the 2016 version of Byte Force, and that's a bit scary. Mammoth, on the other hand, still a very good machine, very capable of doing lots of damage. You can see here them spinning up, getting very close to that wheel, and if they were just a fraction closer, they'd have hit that wheel. As they said in the episode, if Huge had hit Mammoth in a certain spot, it could have been curtains for Mammoth in 2 ways. Either the weapon would have gone down if it hit the chain, or a little bit the other way, and the whole frame would have collapsed. So yeah, what is this fight? It was amazing. It was hilarious to watch it live. I absolutely adored this fight, and I'm sure many others did as well. Fight of the night, most certainly. Fight of the season, potentially. Fight of BattleBots. I think is a possibility. This was a really fun fight, wacky, wild, and just definitely worth watching. I'm going to move on before the end happens because I don't want to spoil the end for you. Make sure you check it out. And we move on to a bit of internal news from World of Woodrow itself. Next Saturday we have a new thing coming called Crap Heap Challenge, where myself, Ben Hay from Team Panic, and Ryan Bratley of Spinnerproof are going to be scavenging our scrap heaps, looking to build Christmas-themed robots. And there'll be more information on that when the Crap Heap Challenge premieres next Saturday at 9 PM GMT. There is a trailer for it on the YouTube channel where I build the scrap heap, basically. My one, at least. I like the look of it. It looks really cool. Now, there's an event coming next year called Fightfest. It is a bit of a university thing, but other people are allowed to enter as well. But universities will be considered higher up on the list. So, Fightfest applications are now open. Head over to their website to sign up your team or learn more about their debut robot fighting competition. There's a link in the YouTube description to get to the World of Woodrow Facebook page, where you can find links to all of this week's news stories, plus this one especially, if you wish to sign up. And it's looking like they're going to fill all their places as well, because lots of people have signed up. Very exciting indeed. There's a video up, a journey to the BattleBots arena with Team Mammoth, showing some behind the scenes of them testing their robot, getting ready for fighting in the future. It was really cool, and yeah, lots of good fun. It's always fun when Mammoth's about, so yeah, make sure you go and check this video out with Ricky Willems and Team Mammoth. There's also a video showing off how Team Icewave built the new CAD for the new Icewave, and you can see it came out practically identical to the real thing. Or the real thing came out practically identical to the CAD, which is probably the correct way around of doing that. But yeah, if you're interested in how all that came together, there's a YouTube video on that as well. Now, Norwalk had an upside to it. It was the finals, and the winner, with no wheels, 2 spinners, and 1 title now, is the wonderful Droopy. We love a bit of Droopy, and they won the event. It was amazing. They came up through the losers bracket. They had to beat Lynx, the winner of the last Norwalk event, twice to win it. They did so, and by gosh, what a couple of final fights. The first was a clear win for Droopy, Lynx tapping out. The second, judge's decision, reasonably close. Lynx had the first half of the fight, Droopy had the second, and you know, Droopy managed to swing it for the judges and took the win. What a win for Droopy. We love a bit of Droopy. Massive congratulations to Droopy. We know they don't want to be there, but they are there anyway. And I want a Droopy t-shirt when a Droopy t-shirt's happening. Come on, give the fans what they want. Ah, we love Droopy. And finally, Sheffield Roboteers Rumble is back for another episode over on the Orcs Nerd YouTube channel. It's the lower bracket round 2, very good episode. Make sure you go and check it out. Some of my favourites are fighting in this one, including Stokemere Clipper or Smack. There was, who else is there? There's an overhead bar spinner, sort of like how Apex was meant to look originally. Snow something. You can see it there, fighting Because I Can Recycled, and another one of mine, my favourites anyway, Yeet, was fighting as well. So yeah, make sure you check out that video over on the Orcs Nerd YouTube channel. And that is that. That is all the news we have for this week. So we shall go through some lovely little viewer comments. Let's have a look through them. I can already see Beef in the chat, which is wonderful. Witch Doctor for flesh wounds is a hard maybe. Hello, Crystal Carnage. Was there a safety issue? There were several. Huge versus Mammoth was spectacular, but it was spectacular because a robot's weapon was doing exactly the opposite of what it was supposed to do. Yep. Still spectacular. But it did sort of do what it was meant to do. I mean, towards the end of the fight, at least, without spoiling it. So I think there was a bit of both there. Yeah, Tracer looking strong, but then got KO'd. Shame the drive let Hijinx down. I'm sure they'll fix it. I mean, it's got some of the best Riboteers in the business on the team, so I really want to see a fight between Hypershock and Claw Viper. Me too. Maybe throw P1 in there as well. I said actually, so last season Jenny Taft did a pip segment of Hypershock doing timed laps of this little course. I want to see P1 round that. I want to see Claw Viper round that. Let's have a Grand Prix of robots. Let's do it, please. Yes, thank you. Claw Viper is like an inverse bite force with wheels. I love them. Yeah. It makes me so happy to see such a unique and creative robot like Droopy succeed. Yeah, me too. Droopy, I think they said it was the first beetle weight in the US to win that doesn't have wheels. I certainly don't know of any other, obviously outside of things like Super Heavyweight, where obviously Son of Waiachi won as a shuffler / walker. Yeah, there's not many non-wheeled robots or non-conventional motion robots that have won it. So yeah, really good to see Droopy get a win as a really unique design, really breaking the meta. I think that's been the theme of this week, is breaking the meta. I mean, Hydra versus Witch Doctor, obviously Witch Doctor being the big vert, not winning to Hydra. You had Mammoth versus Huge, which just was balmy. We have Droopy winning, so yeah, it's all good stuff. How does Droopy move? You know, it's sort of spinners. I think they spin one faster than the other so it can move a certain way, and it almost sort of gyros across the floor, sort of shuffling its way along. Yeah. It's fine, we don't like bullies in the chat. Off he pops. Oh yeah, here we go. So Garfi has said it as well. So like how Minotaur flips itself over when spinning, Droopy uses the same forces to move. Basically, yes. Yeah, that is about it. Where can you find free CAD software to design robots in? Lego Digital Design. Oh. Yeah, cool. Any more for any more? If not, we shall call it there. If you have any questions, do leave them in the comments below. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Do please like the video if you enjoy it. Garfi's giving you some free CAD ideas there, Mike. AutoCAD is pretty good. I don't use it yet, but I have Fusion 360, which I believe hobbyists can get for free. I'm not sure. That was a thing at some point. That's how I managed to get it, so might be worth looking into. If not, I don't know. I don't use CAD. I eyeball everything I build, which is probably a bad thing. So yeah, all the links to this week's stories are in over on the Facebook page, link to which is in the description below. Be sure to check out the Robocast, where I also feature now. Woohoo! And as I said, we talked to Jonathan Schultz this week of Team Huge, who had loads to say. So yeah, make sure you go over there and check that out as well. That is all for this time. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then come back next week for more of the same. I've been Jevon Woodrow, and this has been This Week in Robot Combat. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.